Okay. Can you give me the rate on your core Java 1 to 5 scale?
1 to 5, I will rate myself at 4, somewhere between 3.5 to 4.
Okay. How the hash map is implemented internally?
Okay, so Hashmap works on hashing. So when you insert something, I mean you use put method. So first it will it will calculate the hash code by using key, and then if I mean then it will insert the value. I mean at the node. So by default you are having 16 nodes, and then it will insert by calculating hash code. It will calculate the index, and then it will put the key and value to that index. And suppose if we do not write the proper implementation of hash code, then hash code collision will occur. And in this case, what it will do, it will put the object into the same index using the linked list. Internally, it use linked list, but in Java, we have this improvement in hash code as well for performance perspective. So now, after certain threshold, it will use the balance tree. I mean, it will convert the structure to the balance tree for the performance. I mean, later if we use search operation, then it will use the balance tree.
Okay. Only hash code is it used, or is there any other method also it is used for the validating the object as a key while inserting into map?
It use hash code only. Use the hash code only for which we provided. Okay. Also, you are asking about this hash code equal concept. Yes, equals methods is used. So whenever hash code is found same, then it will use equals method for the content. If content is also same, then this will occur. So we use equals method.
How you can implement error handling in Java?
Okay. So error handling, we can use try catch, and we can use throws keyword. So these are the two way in which we can easily handle the error exception handling. We can do exception handling. We can write custom exception classes for the better handling of exceptions.
Okay. Can you tell me the 2 to 3 steps, no, when we're writing the custom exceptions? How you can approach? We can do that custom exception writing approach.
Okay. So for writing custom exception, what you have to do, suppose um, for our code we use application exceptions for generic exceptions, and we extend exception class, and we write some generic message, and we call the super class constructor from it. And whenever we are using somewhere in the code try catch, we will catch that exception, and we will throw that exception only, the application exception. And in application exception class, we will write some our generic message, or and then we will append the exception detail as well.
Okay, if we maintain the exceptions in one property file,
Mm-hmm.
key and value, no, the exception ka one ID, and it's a description. The application wise,
Mm-hmm.
instead of maintaining, sorry, yeah, instead of writing the each and every exception within our code, we will externalize the error file.
Mm-hmm.
So then how you can load that error file and how you can map that respective um, exception in your
Uh,
code.
for error file, I think we can use the separate logger file to write the exceptions. Is that you are asking about the loggers?
Yes, yeah. Not the logger. Just like how you can import how you can call, how you can retrieve the property file. After reading the property file, then we can fetch that value. How you can do that in Java?
Uh,
How you can read the file from Java?
read the file from Java.
Hmm. How you can read property file, correct?
Okay.
No,
Yes, so we have
YAML
this
file and property
property
file. Yes.
class itself in Java. So we can make the
Hmm.
object of property file, and then in property file we have the methods like get so something. I'm not able to recall, but we have this property file, and we can pass the file to the property constructor, and then we can uh, call the methods by giving the key. Uh, we can call the values by giving the key in the double packets. So we can use
Okay.
that.
Okay. I have the one scenario. I need to retrieve more than one services response
Hmm.
from within the Franat means within the one service request. I need to get multiple services response.
Okay.
How you can do this?
Uh, I mean, from which perspective you are asking? I mean, not able to get your question. Can you come up again?
Okay. In can you tell me what is your rate in web services or microservices?
In microservices, since I'm working with this in last 1.5 years, I will rate myself as 5. I'm learning, but yeah, I know the
Mm.
concept, like how to, how this works, how microservice architecture, and we are converting, so I know the concepts. Microservices
Okay.
component, different Spring Cloud component.
This question, agree. This question can implement in the core Java as well using the patterns.
Hmm.
So anyway, I am giving the one simplest way in microservices. Let's say in microservices all are the services. Yeah, from client side, I need one request. That means one service.
Hmm.
That service would communicate and get the response from the multiple services. That means multiple processes.
Multiple microservices, you are trying to say.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So now, what is your question in that?
My question is, using the one service request,
Hmm.
I need to get the response from the multiple services response.
Okay. Okay. So then you need to create one entity class. I mean, one entity class, and you will call multiple services. You will get the results, and you need to create a object that you want to give out as a output. So you will have certain fields in that object, and you will return that object only after getting the output. Is that your question?
Yeah, anyway, once we got the response from the multiple services, we
Mm-hmm.
can frame the response as our own, as
Yeah.
expected.
Yeah.
As expected.
Mm-hmm.
Here, my question is using the
Mm-hmm.
single service request, can we get the response from the multiple services? If yes, how, what would be the approach?
I am not able to recall. I mean,
Okay, fine.
we can make
Okay.
asynchronous calls to multiple services by using completable futures, but I'm not able to answer the question in your context you are asking. Maybe I have to read about.
Okay. No issues. Mm, okay, coming to Java
Yeah.
or DB, as you said. Uh, within, one we firing the one query
Mm-hmm.
request using the application only, not the in single context. Then we can directly call, open the editor, and we can write and we can execute it. That is the normal. But through application, my query is taking the some little bit time. Coming to the fine tune point of view, we need to reduce. We
Mm-hmm.
need to reduce the response time. What type of things we need to take it and they decide.
Uh, from the application side, we can use
From the application side,
caching.
performance tune, how we can do it?
We can
You can
use
say simply.
caching mechanism we can use. So we have in the Hibernate we have this secondary level cache. so that once we fire the query, we do not have to fire the same query again and again. We can use we can read the values, read the result from cache, so it maintain the cache across these sessions if we are using secondary cache mechanism. So there are few providers which are providing implementation for secondary level cache.
Okay, only sessions. The sessions sometimes we can erase.
Mhm.
Server side also, once the server is down, everything will be gone.
Yes.
Forget about this.
Okay.
Okay, permanently, what is the best approach? What is the things we need to perform at the DB side as well as the Java side?
Well,
Have you
DB
implemented?
side, it's always, I mean, if you are doing indexing with our tables, it will always help to retrieve the results fast. We are
Okay.
performing indexing. From Java side, uh,
What about the sequences,
yes, sequences,
index and sequence?
sequencing, yes, sequencing, I mean, we can also use. But from Java side, I'm thinking like how we can do this. I would never think about it like from performance perspective.
Okay, fine, no issue. Coming to web services, microservices.
Yeah.
Have you worked on the Spring Boot?
Yes, yes. So for the microservices, we are using Spring Boot only for development.
Okay, before going that, let me ask you about the Java side.
Yeah.
Can you tell me the life cycle of threads?
Life cycle of threads. Okay. So once we start, we call the start method of thread class. So thread will be in starting mode. It will not be in running state. It is about to run. So when we once we call this start method, thread scheduler will like see the priority, and based on the priority, it will start the thread. So once it
Okay.
is start, then it will be in runnable state. So once thread complete its task, it will be in dead state, blocked state. In between, if we call this wait or sleep method, then it will be in paused state, and then we can retrieve it in again in the running state by calling notify all if we use wait method. Otherwise,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. 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 Why notify all is introduced in the threads concept
So
in
it's
multi-threading programming?
yes. So suppose one, using sleep method, one thread will sleep for a certain amount of time, but by using this notify all, once thread is go into pause state for certain amount of time, then if another thread is working parallelly and if it completes its time, then it will give notification to the all the waiting methods if we are calling notify all, that I've done my work, and then now you can proceed. Now then thread scheduler will based on the priority again schedule the threads. So basically notify all is to are introduced to perform like multi-threading in a better way. You see, one thread is in pause state, and if it gets notified by other threads, then only it will go into the again. It will go into the again to the queue to the work.
How it should get notified?
How we should get notified? So one thread do is words. It will call the notify, or thread dot notify method. Then all the waiting state threads will get notified, and then the JVM will
Yeah, yeah. My question is how the threads will get notified.
uh, I mean by using this notify method only, notify and notify all on the object.
Okay. One monitor, object lock.
Object lock I know. Monitor I'm not. I mean monitor in the Java I haven't heard monitor some class. No, I haven't heard it. Lock I know. I mean we can have a
Okay,
lock on.
tell me, okay. What is the object lock?
So basically we
Thread
can
monitor, you know? Have you heard about the thread monitor? Object monitor?
no monitor I have not heard. But locking I know because when we use this synchronize keyword, so
Yeah.
thread will take a
Using
lock.
the synchronized the keyword,
Mhm.
that object or the thread will get blocked. Other thread will not enter.
Yes,
Once it is executed, it will unrelease the lock.
yes.
That means the object block, that synchronized block will notify.
Okay, okay. Okay, so the process is like I am familiar with, but yeah, the keyword, the
Yeah, I
monitor,
agree. Fine, fine. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
so,
Um,
yeah, correct.
Coming to this design patterns. Design patterns. What are the design patterns are available in our Java? Not in okay, Java, J2EE, and Spring
Yes,
Side and Spring Boot. Everywhere we are getting the design patterns. What is the design pattern? How many types of the design patterns are available? How you can do you have any exposure on any one of them?
yes, yes. So basically, design patterns are only to write the better code in a proper manner. There are some certain guidelines which we use. So I've heard about solid principles, which are the contract, but uh, to implement we need to use design patterns only to that implement that solid principles. So I know like we are using singleton design pattern, builder design pattern, facade we have used. This is one of a creational design pattern. um, uh, facade
Okay, what
and
is the okay? What is the use of the facade? What is the use of the facade? What is the principle of the facade design pattern?
okay. So facade is like suppose we are connecting DB or we are having multiple interfaces. So facade, it will do, it will based on the input, it will redirect you to the required interface or required class interface, I would say. So suppose in our one of our project we are using facade pattern when we are fetching reports. So there are multiple databases we used to connect. So there are multiple interfaces for these databases. So we have one interface, master interface, which will based on the input type of report we are trying to fetch, it will redirect to that interface. So basically, I mean, yeah, this way we can use the facade design pattern.
What are the uses of design pattern? What are the uses of this session design pattern? Facade, session facade.
What is the uses of? So
What it does basically.
so it will, I would say, it will uh, decouple your dependency on if you are directly creating objects and directly calling the required interfaces, then it is not as much good if we are calling master interface for every type of based on input we are calling the implemented interfaces. So these are, I mean, for Java perspective, it is good to design in such a way only, and that's why design patterns are created. So right,
Okay, that means performance will get increased. The network traffic will get reduced for each and every object.
yeah.
Okay, okay. How you create the singleton design pattern? Can you tell that steps?
For singleton design pattern, see singleton is means we have to utilize the single resource in the shared memory. So one single instance is used by in our code. So how we can achieve it? We have to uh, okay. Let me think. We have
Okay, I will give you the one more clue. In Spring,
mhm.
all beans are. Which all beans are which state?
Yeah, so beans are
In
registered
spring.
in. So by default in Spring we are using this singleton
Singleton.
design
Yes,
pattern only.
singleton.
I know the steps.
Singleton
I'm
like
just trying to recall. So first you have
that.
to use this. You have to declare the private static variable of the class type. Okay, and then we have to define the private constructor for it. We do not have to design the public constructor. And there is one separate method, the public method, in which we will return the instance of the class. Okay, but we need to make sure that we return this instance only one single time. For that we will check first if instance is not created yet. If it is null, then only it will we will return that. Otherwise we will return the same instance, because we have defined this variable as a static in the class. Okay,
Okay.
so this way we can define. And there is also like to resolve in the multi-threading environment, if we are using this, so to ensure the proper singleton design pattern, we can use this synchronize keyword for easy or lazy loading of the singleton class according to requirement, obviously.
Okay. Can you tell me is there any real-time example in our projects? We are using the n number of the places in our the project singleton. Tell me one way, one usage, real-time use.
So whenever we are using a database connections, right? So these connections have to be created only single time. When we are using a logger object, we created only single time, and then we use this method. So database logger, I can think right now in database connection we use this singleton.
Okay.
Like you said,
Have you
is
worked?
Spring also, like by default it provide the
Yeah,
singleton instance only.
yeah, I agree. Okay. What is the fail safe and fail fast?
Fail safe and fail fast, yes. So I would take an example of collections. So we are having this fail safe and fail safe and fail fast mechanism here. So if we are trying to modify any object while iterating it, uh, and if it is gives concurrent modification exception, then it is fail fast iterator, I would say. Like array list. And if it does not give the concurrent modification exception, and it allow you to modify the object, actually not the object, its copy, it will create a separate copy, then it will return, then it is known as fail safe. And for example, we can take it's I think concurrent hashmap is a fail safe, provides a fail safe mechanism here.
Okay. Okay. I had one scenario.
Mhm.
I want to retrieve the highest salary
Mhm.
of the employee, salary of the employee.
In Java you are
I need to
asking.
use, yeah.
I mean, in Java, you are asking. So,
Yes, yes, yes. In Java, how you can?
okay. So for this, we can use this Stream API. If after Java 8, have, I mean, many methods using Stream, we can do this. So what we can do? So suppose we have employee list, so we can use employee list dot stream. Okay, and then we can sort the list first. We using sorted method. There are many methods. Sorted we can
You
use.
tell me. You tell me how you will do it.
So I
There
will
are
use
many methods are there.
yeah. So I will tell
Hmm.
you. I will use this employee list dot stream dot sorted. In sorted we have this comparator, using comparator dot comparing. And in comparing I will use method reference to get, and I will provide the salary method, I mean employee uh, double colon get salary, so it will sort on the basis of salary. If I want to highest salary, then I will use reverse method, so it will reverse the order, and then you have the list as a in descending. Then I will use the find first. Then I will use the find first, and then I will use the get. So find first will give you optional, and then I can use the get. This is also one. And there are, I mean, there are one more intermediate method like max. Max I can also use. So employee list dot stream dot max. In max I can provide the comparator dot comparing. Then also I can like have this highest salary.
Okay.
So I mean, yeah, this is the beauty of Java 8 enhancement. Before Java 8, you have to write a lot of comparator, a lot of code for the comparator, and now you have this static methods in comparator interface in
Okay.
itself.
Why Java 8 is introduced? Why it is required?
Okay, I mean, yeah, every um, every product require better for the better improvement. So Java 8 improvements mainly, if you see, the functional interfaces are included to enable the function programming. Hold on, I'm getting one call, sorry. So to enable the functional programming, basically, so we introduce lambdas, okay, to enable the functional programming to Java. Java used to be a object oriented programming before, but now we can write some functional programming as well. And in Java 8, I would say mainly there are focused some of the example, I would say, like date time API they have introduced. Now date time API are thread safe and immutable. Earlier it was not. We do not have the time API, concrete time API for that. Now we have. Apart from that, method reference, functional programming, collection stream, collection API enhancement stream we have, and then we have this optionals. So there are many improvements they have done in Java 8.
Okay. What is the usage of the post method and put method in web services and microservices?
Post and put methods. So okay, so these are the two HTTP methods, I would say, the REST methods we use to post. We are actually creating an entity, and put we are trying to update the entity.
Okay.
Sorry.
Can you tell me if that resource is not found, what is the error code?
Resources not found.
Not found.
I think it's 404. I think, if I'm not wrong, it's 404. I
You
think,
tell, yes.
yeah,
Yeah, you
I
tell,
think it's
you tell
404.
confidently,
I'm
you
not,
tell.
I mean, not sure, but it's 404, I think, if resources
What
not
about
found.
the 401?
401 is, I think, um, unauthorized requests. If I remember correctly, it's for unauthorized.
What about 500?
500 is like
500.
generic. We get internal server error whenever we get exception, and any it's related to server errors only.
200?
Starting to 500. Sorry.
200. What about 200? 200.
200 is for successful response. We say okay. 201 is for successful. So from 200 to 300, it's related to the successful response, and from 400 to 500, I think these are related to client error whenever we using, and from 500 onwards, all error codes are related to server errors.
Okay. How the one microservices will communicate with another microservice?
So for
Now it
communication
can,
in our projects, we are using a RabbitMQ for asynchronous communication, but we can use there are many ways. Synchronous way, we can use REST template, OpenFain, and in our project we are using RabbitMQ. Some places we are using REST template.
RabbitMQ is for what?
It's for asynchronous communication. So we actually put message in queue. So this basically used for publisher and subscriber model included here. So publisher, one of the microservices will act as a publisher. It will put the message into the queue, and in RabbitMQ we have see, RabbitMQ is a message broker. In message broker, we have this exchange and queue. So first, micro publisher will send the message to exchange, and exchange based on the routing key it will route the message based on the routing key to the corresponding queue. Then the subscriber microservices, whoever microservice acting as a subscriber will read that message from the queue. So this is, I think, I mean, this way this RabbitMQ works. So we have Kafka over here, but we do not. I do not have to work on Kafka.
RabbitMQ, Kafka, all these are
Same.
MQ side.
Yes.
MQ side. But the MQ, there are the published this, then we can consume. Is it a communication?
Sorry?
That's where they consume. But even in the not in the microservices, not in microservices. Earlier we have the MQ, no? MQ, ActiveMQ, RabbitMQ, and Kafka. They will publish. Then we can consume. That is the event-driven process.
Yes, event-driven. Based on the
Event-driven process. No?
Yes.
Even the simple Java also, observable class, we can get it. Yes, my concept, my question is here, how the one microservice will interact with another microservice.
I mean, in our project, we are using REST template. Interact, matlab, I mean, I'm not able to get the context. And for these are the tools for the communication only.
Okay.
I mean, if you ask me something, or maybe I can get the context and I can answer you. Maybe I know, but I'm not able to answer.
One microservices. What is the main principle of the microservice? What is the main principle of the microservice? What are the principles of microservice? Tell me.
So
what are the 5 principles? Basically, 5 we can implement. What are those 5 principles? Mainly, we will use in our microservice project.
Okay. So, if you ask me the principle, so I would say microservices should be like act as a separate entity. It should not have dependency on other entity and other microservices. It should have a separate database and separate it should work as independently, not dependently. This is one of the most important example. And it should have a way to communicate with each other, to form a system. It should allow other microservices to connect with itself. And for that, we in our project, we are for the communication and I mean if you ask me components, we are using this Eureka. So microservices will register itself with a Eureka, and then all other microservices will get to know, okay, this is the microservices, this is the microservices name, and this is the port. We need not to have all the information related to the port and what is the URL. All we can have this microservice name only. And for routing, we can use API gateway. Okay. So, and yeah, what else? I mean,
what API gateway you used? API gateway?
We are using Spring Cloud API gateway in our project.
Okay. Okay. Based on the comment, one of the principles you said, microservices are the independent, loosely coupled, and easy to deploy, not depending on the other service.
Correct.
In this scenario, in microservices scenario, so one microservices response we are using into another microservices. So that is all are the independent. So all independents are the not in the use, not the useful. Sometimes based on this some other microservices and the clubbing all the microservices, we can make it as a one product. So in that scenario, how you people are they communicating with getting the response from the one microservices to another microservices? Sometimes, as we know, in servlets, include and forward methods. Forward both are the independent. One servlet response we are using in our microservices, then we can use it the include.
Actually,
and servlet streaming.
yes.
Similarly, in microservices,
Mhm.
one microservices, all microservices are the independent.
Right.
One is the one functionality.
Hmm.
So in this functionality, one functionality is not fulfill the requirement. We can add it something more. That means we need to integrate into another microservice. How you can achieve that microservice? That is microservice.
Okay. So you're, I mean, for which we can, you are asking like if one microservices is not working correctly, so we can have another instance
Okay,
of it.
wait. Yeah. Okay, fine. Understood. Mm,
So we can have multiple
yeah,
instance. I would say multiple instance we can have run for single microservices. We can implement this circuit breaker
okay.
pattern.
Okay. How you deploy the microservices app in cloud? I think you are using the cloud or the independent service, independent individual
Yes,
servers.
we are using cloud only. So there is one
Cloud.
separate team, but I can try because I know some of bit it. So what they use, you deploy the AWS EC first. They pull the image from ECS Elastic Container repository, and they
Hmm.
deploy into the ECS cluster. In cluster, they define everything while writing the task definition, how many instances are required, and how this can be done. So on EC2 instances, basically they deploy the microservices.
Okay. How you can write the test case? Okay, I write the one scenario
Hmm.
in microservices.
Hmm.
Okay, I need to test. Hmm? How you write the JUnit test cases or Mockito test case? Either in your project or we can use either Mockito or JUnit, whatever it is. Huh?
Right, right. So for
Let you can take it as a simple JUnit. You write the one functionality that is a success scenario.
Mhm.
Let's assume your method it is working functionality wise. We can split it as a one method.
Mm.
Correct now? One method, one test case. We have to write. Hmm?
So we can
Then
use.
how you can start that? Let's assume one method is there that is working fine. You have to write that JUnit for that method. How you can write and how you can start. What are the JUnit test classes? Parent classes you will use.
So uh, like Spring already created a test package for ourselves. But if I talk about JUnit, so in our we are using JUnit 5 with Mockito. So we can write, I mean, we can append the test string with the name of test class, and then we can write the test at the rate test at the top of the method which we are trying to write the test case. Okay. And to mock the object, we can use this Mockito at the rate mock annotation. And while writing the code, I will say we can use this when. I mean, when in bracket we can mock the method calls, basically. And when we will write the DAO, if we are if we are connecting any DAO class, so we will write like when DAO dot that method, and then we can mock that behavior of the method according to our requirement.
Only when is required. Only when is enough.
No, no.
How you can
Then,
compare? How you can compare the mock and the actual objects?
yeah, yeah. So in we will write the when, then we will, yeah, write the DAO dot class. I mean, suppose we have this create method, create order method. So we will write that when in bracket we will line DAO dot create order, and then we will mock the return by calling the then return, or we can use then throw if we have to throw the any exception, or we will I mean, we can use the method. There are many methods: then return, then
Tell
throw,
me any one or two methods.
then return, then throw.
Regularly we are using. Normally we will use.
We use
Regularly
like
we will use.
normally we use then return. And yes, then return.
Okay. What is the deployment pattern? What is the deployment? CI/CD.
Set.
Then coming to that CI/CD, that what is the regular as a developer who are writing the code,
Mm-hmm.
who are testing it, who are writing the journeys, everything is working fine. Okay, then what is the next step?
Okay. So what I will talk about my
The-
context. What we are using Git for our versioning. So whenever we use, whenever we are commit our code, we will write one separate file, Docker file in it. Okay. Um, Sorry, in Git we have this GitLab ci.yml for continuous integration, and we used to write configuration in that file. So what are all the stages? What are um, mm, all the goals we have? So if we perform testing, if we use building, testing, and then deployment, we will use all the patterns in that GitLab ci.yml file. And if we once it's committed, and there is one separate pipelines created. When we run this pipeline, GitLab ci.pipeline will GitLab will run, GitLab runner will run, see this file, and according to this it will uh, perform the deployment part. It will first build the uh, application. It will run the tests, and then according to the stage it will deploy the project to that stage. Suppose we are using dev or QA or prod. According to that state we can run.
Okay. After deployment, how you can do the health check of an application and how you can monitor these many services are up and run. What type of technology we will use? How we can identify
Okay.
once the server is up and application test while doing the health check.
Okay, so in our applications we are using actuators. Okay. In actuators we can monitor the application health. There are many endpoints provided by Spring actuators to monitor the health. And although we are not using this our in our application, but we can have this to monitor the health properly. We can use this Grafana dashboard using Prometheus. We are not using it, but I know, we can leverage these two tools
Okay, you
to
tell me in your project what is the technology you use it for the monitoring the application for monitoring the services.
simple actuators.
Anyway,
Simple
actuators.
actuators. And for in between we are using this Jipkin and Sleuth for logging, but not monitoring the health. Jipkin and Sleuth for logging, distributed logging, log tracing we are using.
Okay. Okay, fine. Do you have any questions?
No, but yeah, I would like to ask is this, interview is going for any specific requirement, and what type of technology currently you are, working on? I mean, if I get selected, what type of work I will get? Because mainly I want to, get a
Hmm.
more hands-on on these new technology.
Okay, you need to focus. This project is basically on the Java 8 microservices, Kafka,
Okay,
and Apache Camel.
Apache Camel. Okay.